What's up everybody, and welcome back to our deck profile video series here on Pokelore. I'm your host, Professor Snorlax, and today we're going to be detailing an all-new deck full of cards from the Shining Legends set that just came out a couple weeks ago. And this is going to be the Genesect Venusaur deck. It's a lot of fun. I always love these kooky grass decks that I can come up with. So without further ado, let's get started. We are going to play 1, 2, 3 of the brand new Bulbasaur from Shining Legends. 70 HP for colorless and a leaf. You can do Razor Leaf to do 30 damage. You're never going to be using either of those attacks unless something goes horribly wrong. So that's that. We're only going to be playing one of the Ivysaur from Shining Legends in this deck because we are running rare candies. And something kind of interesting about this is that we're actually only running 2 of the Venusaur. Now, Venusaur is a huge part of the engine that makes this deck run. Venusaur's got 160 HP. His ability is the main reason we play him. It is Jungle Totem, and it says each basic grass energy attached to your Pokemon provides 2 basic grass energy. You can't apply more than 1 jungle item ability at a time, so the ability does not stack. We're only playing 2 of the Venusaur because the deck is a little bit clunky. I'm still playtesting it to find the perfect formula. I found that the 3-1-2 line for the Venusaur family works out really well. Anyway, something we should know about that Venusaur is that Rainbow Energy will not count as 2 energy. It only works for basic grass energy. The primary attacker in this deck is very cool. One of the brand new Shining Pokemon. Look at that. I love that. The Shining cards are so beautiful, guys. 130 HP for Genesect with the ability Energy Reload. Once during your turn before you attack, you can move a grass energy from one of your other Pokemon to this Pokemon. And Gaia Blaster for 3 colorless does 50 plus, and that plus is 20 more for each of the grass energy attached to this Pokemon. So I think you can kind of see where this combo starts to come into play. Venusaur makes all your energy count for 2. Genesect does more for energy for each grass energy that's attached to it. So with 3 grass energy attached to your Shining Genesect, you're hitting for 170 before a Choice Band. 200 with a Choice Band. You're just outside of one-hit KOing a lot of things in the format, but you are a one-prize attacker. So lots of fun to be had here with Genesect. Some of you might remember the Keldeo that was big a few seasons ago. Same kind of attack, and this is only a one-prize attacker. He doesn't get the stand-in ability, but he does get the same damage output, which is pretty cool. We're also running 1 copy of Tapu Bulu-GX. Tapu Bulu, you can watch our other video on the Tapu Bulu Vikavolt deck that we uploaded a few weeks ago. But this is going to be the only Tapu Bulu we play in here. He's one of our only GX attackers. He's really in there for some of the harder matchups. 1 grass gets you Horn Attack, 2 grass and a colorless gets you Nature's Judgment, which does 120 plus another 60 if you discard all the energy attached to it. And remember, with Venusaur in play, Nature's Judgment will only cost you 2 energy to do. You can't set it up as quickly as you can with Vikavolt, but you do have the option there. And you have Tapu Wilderness GX. For the same energy cost as Nature's Judgment, you do 150 and heal all the damage from this Pokemon. 3 retreat cost is a little rough, but this card has definitely been clutch for me in a few of the games that I've played with it. Especially in the Gardevoir matchup, which is a very difficult matchup for you in this deck because you do stack energy. It's not impossible to beat Gardevoir, but it is your second worst matchup, right after Volcanion, which is a whole other nightmare. Just for some draw support, we have Oranguru. If you get end late game, or if you dump through your whole hand really early, playing Max Elixirs and Rare Candies and stuff, you can instruct and draw up to 3. Plus, Psychic is kind of cool. It does 20 more damage times the amount of energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. Not attached to this Pokemon, but again, in a Gardevoir matchup, that can do some hefty damage. Or in a mirror match, where somebody has maybe 4 energy stacked on top of a Genesect. We are playing 1 Rayquaza. I might bump this up to 2. I'm not sure what I would cut for that, though. We're playing this exclusively for Turbo Storm. For a double colorless, it does 30, and you can attach 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile to one of your benched Pokemon. Your Genesect do get knocked out pretty easily. You discard your energy with Tapu Bulu. Sometimes you have to do a Sycamore you don't want to do. Sometimes your opponent has other ways to put your energy in your discard. So just being able to do that baby Yveltal-ish attack, but with 2 basic energy, is pretty cool. You can pump your Genesect or your Tapu Bulu up pretty quick there late game. Next up, we're running the meta itself. We're playing 3 Tapu Lele-GX. Tapu Lele is especially good in this deck, not only for the Wonder Tag ability, which of course is the main reason anybody plays Tapu Lele, where you can just draw any supporter from your deck and add it to your hand. When you play it onto your bench, Energy Drive is a very good attack in this deck because it does 20 times the amount of energy attached to both active Pokemon. And remember, with Venusaur, your grass energy count for 2. So just right off the bat, you can do Energy Drive with 1 energy to do the normal 40 damage, or you can do Energy Drive with both energy attached, and then you're doing 80. Just on its own, not counting what your opponent has. Or you can stack a Tapu Lele up and start just running through your opponent's side of the field, which is very fun. Tapu Lele in this deck is super duper clutch. Sorry, I'm trying to keep the stack nice and organized so that you guys can see everything. Sorry for the lighting. The studio that I record in, we got these lights on the ceiling that there's really no way for us to get great lighting on these videos, so thank you guys for bearing with it. Next up, we're playing Rescue Stretcher. We're getting into the trainers now, guys. Just 1 copy of Rescue Stretcher. We can choose 1 to put a Pokemon from our discard pile into our hand, or shuffle 3 Pokemon from our discard pile into our deck. If we have to get rid of a Venusaur, we can grab this back from we can grab it back into our hand with a Rescue Stretcher to Rare Candy a Bulbasaur into Venusaur, or we can shuffle 2 of our dead Genesect and maybe a Bulbasaur or something like that back into our deck. So Rescue Stretcher, very good card. Next up, we are playing 2 Field Blower. Garbodor's everywhere, and that means I might try to bump this up to 3 if I can find room for it. Field Blower just lets you choose up to 2 in any combination of Tool and Stadium cards and discard them. That is a very handy card to have. We are, of course, playing 4 Ultra Ball, because what deck doesn't play 4 Ultra Ball? Just discard 2 cards, search your deck for any Pokemon, and put it into your hand. We really want to get that turn 1 Tapu Lele, so we can get a Brigette out, and Ultra Ball helps to ensure that that happens most of the time. Oh wow, this whole thing is setting up very crooked, isn't it? Let's see if I can just turn the whole world. There we go, it's a little bit better. Next up, we're playing 4 Max Elixir, because we are trying to go turbo here, guys. Max Elixir just lets you scry, look at the top 6 cards of your deck, find a basic energy you find there, and attach it to a basic Pokemon on your discard pile. Shining Genesect just happens to be a basic Pokemon, and we're trying to pump energy up on him super quick, so Max Elixir lets us do that. You can also Max Elixir onto Oranguru or Tapu Lele or Rayquaza or Tapu Bulu or any other attacker in the deck that isn't Ivysaur or Venusaur, and you're never really trying to attack with the Venusaur line anyway. We are only playing 3 Rare Candy because we're only playing 2 Venusaur. Rare Candy is super awesome, just lets you go from a basic into a stage 2. You can skip the middleman entirely, that's why we only play 1 Ivysaur. 3 Choice Band, because even though we're stacking energy to do damage, we do struggle to hit a lot of those key numbers. So 4 energy and a Choice Band with Venusaur in the field lets us 1-hit KO most things in the format. We still kind of struggle with Gardevoir and Metagross and Decidueye, things like that, but what can you do? So Choice Band, very good. You see it in almost every deck. You could also play Fighting Fury Belt in this deck if you really wanted to do that. I don't play Fighting Fury Belt in most of my decks just because Field Blower is everywhere, and all my cards just end up getting blown away before I can even actually do anything with them. So that's why we're playing Choice Band instead of Fury Belt. Next up, guys, 3 Float Stone. You can bump it up to 4 if you want. Sometimes you get Guzma, and Venusaur and Tapu Bulu have giant retreat costs. You don't want to just be discarding energy to retreat if you can avoid it. So we play 3 Float Stones that we can safely retreat back into something else in the event that we need to. And after Float Stone, we are now going to get into our supporter line, and we are playing 3 copies of N. I'm going to miss N very much when he rotates next year. I'm very much looking forward to the new full art promos. Everybody knows what N does at this point, right? You just shuffle your hand back into your deck, both players do that, and you each draw equal to the amount of prizes that you have left. It's really good late game if you're losing. You can end your opponent down to 1 or 2 cards a lot of the time, or early game if your hand's just junk, but you don't want to discard any Venusaurs or anything like that. You just end. Self-explanatory. Sycamore, again, Sycamore's been in the format forever. We're going to miss him when it goes. Discard your hand and draw 7 cards. I don't even think I need to explain why that's good. New cards, yay! 7 cards, that's a whole new hand. And we have things like Rescue Stretcher to help us get something back from the discard in a super duper pinch. We get our energy back with Rayquaza if we really need to. We're also playing 3 copies of ya boy. That's Guzma. Switch your opponent's active Pokemon with a card of your choosing from their bench, and then you switch your active Pokemon with a card of your choosing from your bench. It's just a cool little switcheroo that you can play. It's going to save you a lot. We're then also playing 2 Brigette. You can probably cut it down to 1, but you really don't want to prize that Brigette on the first turn. So you want to play Brigette. It lets you search your deck for 1 basic Pokemon EX, which we're not playing any of, or 3 basic Pokemon, including GX Pokemon, and put them onto your bench and then shuffle your deck. So turn 1, say you started with a Bulbasaur, you can Brigette for another Bulbasaur and 2 Shining Genesect. Or if you started with something that you didn't want to start with, like a Tapu Lele, you can search for 2 Bulbasaur and a Genesect. Whatever you gotta do to really start pumping this Genesect up turn 1, and try to get this Venusaur up turn 2 with Rare Candy. That's the whole strategy here in this deck. And lastly, for supporters, we're playing 2 Skyla. You can cut it down to 1 if you want. A lot of people say don't play Skyla. I think Skyla's a great card. Lets you search your deck for a trainer card, reveal it, and put it in your hand, and shuffle your deck afterward. You can Skyla for Rare Candy. That's what you do more often than not. You can Skyla for Ultra Ball if you have the Rare Candy. You can Skyla for literally any of these cards you see here. You never really want to Skyla for a supporter, but if you get Float Stone in a pinch, or a Choice Band, Max Elixirs, whatever, Skyla is clutch and will get the cards you need. Everybody loves Skyla. And lastly, guys, we are playing 11, count them, 11 Grass Energy. I've actually been thinking about bumping this up to 12, or maybe adding a Super Rod or something. I whiff the Max Elixir more oftentimes than I'd like, so increasing the amount of Grass Energy that I have in the deck will hopefully help solve that problem. But who knows? Again, guys, this is not a finalized formula. This deck isn't really super meta. It's not going to be a tier 1 thing, but it is a fun deck to bring to League. And who knows, we've got some cards coming out in the future. We've got Pheromosa GX. We've got some other grass-type attackers coming out. There are different variants of this deck you can play. You can include the Lurantis promo, or even Lurantis GX. Other energy accelerating things. I've seen somebody try to pair it with Solgaleo. I wasn't crazy about that build myself, but go crazy. Do whatever you gotta do, right? People play it with the Fighting Fury Belt, as we mentioned before. The 2 different Lurantises. I'm not sure what I said. I think I might have said Golisopod earlier. I meant Lurantis. But there's a lot of grass support. Grass is a really good deck right now, guys. Another tech we didn't talk about is you can add the Mew from Fate's Collide. That lets you use one of your benched Pokemon's attacks as its attack. That's kind of cool if you want to steal Tapu Bulu's attack or whatever. I'm not a big fan of using that in this deck. You can also, just to try to take your opponents down, you can try to add something like Clefairy from Evolutions, but I don't think that's a good idea in this deck at all. I have seen that online a couple times when I've played the mirror match. But I found that this list is actually pretty consistent. You can hit huge numbers, and although it has some really hard matches in the format right now, namely Gardevoir and Volcanion, it has a lot of really good matches too. Greninja is weak to grass, so you're not too worried about it shutting down your abilities. Garbodor decks, yeah, they're tough, but we have Field Blowers. Add a 3rd Field Blower if it's giving you that much of a problem, guys. But that's it. That's Shining Genesect and Venusaur from Shining Legends. Brand new deck. Very excited to play it. I like it a lot. It's a nice breath of fresh air to just get away from the decks that I've been playing for so long. But guys, in the comments, let me know what deck you want to see next. There's plenty of things we haven't hit so far. And go ahead and give this channel a subscribe if you like what you see here today. We have other deck profile videos. We have Pokemon VGC content as well. We're going to start trying to get a little bit more consistent with our uploads. And don't forget to subscribe to our sister channel, Sardos TV. We stream every Wednesday night. We do Pokemon, the video game. Sometimes we'll dabble in a little bit of Pokken Tournament. Maybe sometimes we'll stream some TCG on there. Who knows? The sky's the limit, right guys? But until next time, I've been Professor Snorlax. Thank you very much for checking out our video, and I will see you